Dramatic scenes last week of thousands and thousands of North Africans piling ashore. What's the latest on Lampedusa?
Well, this was the epicentre of those dramatic scenes, the Red Cross camp just on the outskirts of the main town in Lampedusa. I'm just going to step to the side just to give you a shot. So these are the front gates into the camp itself. We're not allowed inside. A lot of activity here, although things much calmer than they were just 4 or 5 days ago when they were dealing with thousands of people inside a camp that is only purpose-built for 400 migrants. And we had scenes of the migrants in here actually scaling the perimeter fence because effectively they were inside in very hot conditions, quite cramped, so they wanted out, and then we had them wandering about into the main town itself and some clashes with the local police. As I say, a lot calmer than that now, and that's thanks mainly to what they call the Mistral winds, which have been blowing for the last couple of days in the Mediterranean around this island. It's made the journey almost impassable really for these small boats and has really cut the numbers crossing down very significantly. However, the authorities know that as soon as those winds die down, just as we see in the English Channel on the calm days, then the boats will return. And that's why we still have a very significant presence here of members of the Red Cross. We've got members of the Italian police force who've come from all over Italy. We were filming actually last night at the airport when we arrived. Dozens of Italian police officers who arrived at the airport to help supplement and reinforce the officers that are here, because they know that it will be very challenging for them in the days ahead, especially if they get another surge like we had about 5 or 6 days ago. There's other pictures that we'd like to show you that we filmed late last night. We're not normally allowed into this area of the harbour, of the port area in Lampedusa, but we got into an area where the boats are being stored, these empty migrant boats. Dozens of boats, some of them very dilapidated and certainly not in the slightest bit seaworthy. We could see the rubber inner tubes that were being used as makeshift life jackets, clearly not at all suitable for any kind of trouble that these migrants might have got into. And on the boats themselves, we could see the numbers painted on. They do the same thing, Border Force, with the small boats that come across the English Channel. They paint the numbers on so they can keep account of how many boats have crossed. And one of those boats had 975/23 written on, which effectively the 975th boat that had crossed in 2023, an indication of the massive numbers that we're talking about. It does, just in Lampedusa itself, really dwarf the situation in the English Channel. And it's not just Lampedusa, it is of course other Italian islands, it is Greek islands and Spanish islands. All across the European Union's southern borders you will get migrant crossings from North Africa to try to get into the European Union. And what we then find, because history has shown us that so, is that many of those who cross the southern border want to get up to the more prosperous countries in northern Europe, and many will go to the northwest beaches of France with a view to getting over to the UK. Also, in terms of the crisis here, though, clearly it's impacted this island of just 6,000 people. We spoke to a couple of local Italians who were visiting the island, and you know, they were very concerned at the situation.
No, it doesn't change feeling of the island, but I see most military presence in the island.
Concerned about the future, about how could be, but also a bit hopeful, but it can improve. the situation definitely can improve.